Hey, it's David. So I wanted to talk briefly about distribution channels, which is a really businessy term, but we will take it from a bird's eye perspective and then dive a little deeper and go more granular. But before I even get to that part, I was just talking with a friend, just got off the phone with her and recognized something. And I think this is why there's some challenges with what I've been sharing in the last few episodes is just a difference in perspective. Like, it's human, right? We all have perspectives and we all see things a little bit differently from each other. That's one of the beautiful things about life. And people get extremely passionate about perspectives, and their minds sometimes go to places that are so completely, I guess in their mind they're related, they have some kind of neural pathway connection between this topic and that topic. Like, just to give you an example, there was a talk on critical thinking today at work, and it was a great conversation, it was a great presentation, but someone had connected the dots from that to wokeness, and I don't see the connection, but this is what it means to be human, that we make connections that are not necessarily logical but can absolutely be emotional, and we can easily lump things together. I've heard this before, and it's not a statement of judgment whatsoever, but like men's brains are a little bit like compartments, and women's brains a little more like spaghetti. And so sometimes I can see this at work. I think both have their strengths and weaknesses, and that's just it. I think enough people working together towards a common goal, you're not going to agree on everything, and in fact, sometimes you might be at each other's throats, but through that process, what you can create together is quite amazing. But that's the point, is like, I may be looking at something and it looks to me like a box of gold. It looks like a treasure box. And you look at it and think to yourself, well, this seems like a lot of work, or this seems kind of boring, or I thought this was for me until I tried it, and now I'm not so sure if it's for me at all. And people go AWOL. Like, as a leader, because I've received so much leadership training and I've studied so much leadership, I kind of sometimes feel responsible, I really do feel responsible for people who disappear and go AWOL. Like, I think to myself, what did I do wrong to cause that situation? And more often than not, I mean, it may or may not have had something to do with what I did or didn't do. More often than not, good 80-90% of it has to do with decisions they're making. And they may have decided for themselves that, this looks more fun, this looks less boring, this looks easier. And so they get distracted by something because they believe, and then probably earnestly, that that's a better opportunity than the one we were just looking at. As someone who has invested countless hours and lots of resources and time and energy into different endeavors, and having reached so many different impasses at different things in life, music was the first major impasse that I reached. I got to do it full time for a period of my life, so like, I'm grateful for that. But I had reached a point where I would have chosen independent, or I would have chosen major label, and neither option was ultimately available to me, because I'd worked hard to build an audience, to perform, to get out there, to record and share my music. And no doubt, like, retrospect feels like there's some things I could have done better, or I could have done more releases, or maybe I could have tried harder or practiced harder, or maybe I could have put myself out there a little bit more. But I did the best I could with what I had at that time. And I got to where I was and kind of had that realization, like, I've taken this as far as I can logically take it. And if I was to stay independent, I would just continue to play to, not no one, but like the few people who were interested or wanting to come out to shows, and even they would not come out consistently. And I understand that. Like, how many times can you come to see David Andrew Weed Band in a month and still want, like, yes, hardcore fans, I guess, but those types of people are hard to find, and especially given that they have life too. They have other stuff going on. It's not like they can come to every show. I would have continued going if there were just 3 or 4 cities across North America and where there were pockets of 250 to 500 people who were interested in my music and depended on me releasing new music every year. That would have been enough for me to want to keep going, and that was not presenting itself. That opportunity was not there. So having reached an impasse in so many different projects, it's a little easier for me to, and this is why I'm a coach. It's like having reached so many different impasses, it's a little bit easier for me to diagnose when someone has come to that point of really trying, putting their best foot forward, making tweaks, making adjustments, making iterations, trying it from this angle, trying it from that angle, and still not getting to where they want to go. Because in the case of like building a music career, it's not just about playing more shows. It's not just about making more music. In your early days, make it about that. Make it about getting out to as many jam sessions as you can, open mics. Make it about performing and practicing and playing with friends and like really spending time in the closet. That's perhaps the most important part in the early part of your career, but then it becomes something else entirely. And either you got to figure something out that's clever in terms of strategy or in terms of networking or utilizing the resources and connections available to you. You got to be a little bit more savvy than just, well, I'm just going to blunt force trauma, play as many shows as possible and as many dive bars as possible and hope that I convert a fan at a time. You'll get there, but holy cow, that might be 10, 20, 30 years. So you got to be clever with your strategy if you're hoping to get somewhere further than that. So this is why I say, like, I could be looking at an opportunity and it would be perceived very differently by different people. And so I think that's what we're running into. And I want to apply this specifically to distribution channels before I go too far off in that direction, because I'm sure we could spend a lot of time on what I just talked about too. But distribution channels, you could think of this as a blog. You could think of this as an email list or a YouTube channel or a podcast. It could be anything, but it's somewhere where people gather for a specific piece of content, something they're expecting from you, maybe news, maybe celebrity gossip. It could be whatever, but it's something somewhere where people are coming to you and you're offering something on the regular. So generally, it would be defined as content. Now, it doesn't have to be content because you don't always have to own, like you need to own the distribution channel, but there could be other people running it. So, but that's very entrepreneurial and maybe out of reach for many musicians, which is why I think it's better to think of it as a blog, a podcast, a YouTube channel, a newsletter, a magazine, a newspaper. You got options, but it's going to be one of those things. So until you realize and understand the power of a distribution channel, you're probably not going to prioritize it. And this is the worst career move that you could make. And so much has been said about blogging and podcasting and publishing daily because I talked about it a lot on the show. But this is the crux of why it matters. And bottom line, if you have a distribution channel and you can plug an offer into it, like something new you've created, it could be a tour, it could be tickets to your latest show, it could be a new music release, it could be a merch bundle, but if you can plug an offer into a distribution channel where people regularly show up to consume something that you've created, you can generate sales. And in fact, you can command large sums of money if your distribution channel is big enough. let's back up a bit. And the bird's eye view of it is kind of this. Watch Shark Tank. I don't know if that's still in syndication or not. I don't even know if it's still running or not, but there's shows like it. I know that. So if you watch the sharks, they're like, they have access to a distribution channel. And so often they're not looking, people think they're looking for a great product. That's not it. People think they're looking for a great return on investment. Yeah, to a certain degree. But what they're really looking for is a good fit between the product, the pitch, and their distribution channel. If they have a distribution channel that they can plug that offer into, so let's say, and I don't even remember all the sharks or what channels they have, but let's say someone has access to an audience that buys clothing, like clothing for women. If they're being pitched a product that's clothing for women, so it fits that description, and is something that's looks like it's has a pretty good chance of selling, they can plug it into their distribution channel and make a good money on it. And that's why they do it. That's why they choose to invest, because they know they can do something with it in their distribution channel. That's the power of a distribution channel. That's kind of the bird's eye view of it. And if we were to go a little bit more minute, if we were to go to a little more granular, the thing that you need to do is to figure out as much as you can about your audience. Like, where are they already congregating? And the thing is, traffic already exists. You're not trying to build traffic from scratch. In fact, that's inefficient, and you don't want to do that. There's already networks. There's networks of networks, and there's networks of networks of networks. Think of like Facebook. It's pretty staggering when you start to think about it. Like, everybody on Facebook, like, save for new accounts, spam accounts, or people who just don't really use their accounts for that kind of thing, have an entire network of friends. It may be hundreds, it may be thousands. So that in itself is a network, and there are many different ways for you to access that network. Now, is every one of those people going to be your fan or interested in your content channel? Maybe not, but with some elbow grease, you can figure out what these people are looking at. And that's why you need a distribution channel, because you want to get these people to come to you and attracted to what you do, like a moth to a flame. You got to build it up. That's the part that people sometimes forget. Like, let me just get this started and get a few pieces of content out there, and let me present everyone with an offer. Well, I'm not saying don't sell something from day one. There are good reasons to do that. But it's also one of the causes, or one of the reasons why people get so disappointed with this process, is because they've got like 20 followers on all platforms, give or take 15. So they got somewhere between 20 and 35, or maybe 10 and 35 followers on every platform. And they plug in an offer to it, and they'll go, well, one person downloaded the ebook and then the rest of the people did nothing. Like, this is really honestly amazing that you even got one download, but they're not celebrating that. They're discouraged by it. They don't see it as being viable. And so you're just kind of looking in the wrong direction completely, because you don't have a distribution channel. You've set it up, but you have to make things that draws the moth to a flame. You got to get people to come to that. You got to draw their attention one way or another, and have them show up regularly to come check out your thing. And it doesn't have to be complicated. I don't suggest creating junk, because I think there's a lot of that going around right now with the faceless, voiceless, no workless content creators thing. And yeah, I guess it can work, but I'm often thinking to myself, like, how much of an audience is there for junk? And I'm not a fan of garbage content, and I tend to bypass it. I still tend to go towards things that are created by my favorite personalities. Occasionally I'll find a new personality that I like that I add to my list, but I'm kind of trusting them to bring me the things that either just will entertain me or I will enjoy, or I'll find informative or inspiring in some way. And so most people are that way. How are you going to position yourself as one of those? So understanding that you can create something similar to what's already out there. You really don't need to reinvent the wheel when it comes to distribution channel. Again, tapping into this idea that traffic's already happening. Let's just figure out a way to kind of steal an audience. We'll say ethically steal an audience, but let's try to move their audience over to yours. So someone else has got a platform where the people that you're trying to attract congregate. What can you learn from looking at that platform? And if there's multiple platforms, and there usually are, and it's usually we're studying most of them, or if not all of them, what are they doing? And what are the good parts that you can take, and what parts could you improve or change upon to make it unique? Now, we are certainly in a world where just because you're somehow unique and you've got a good unique selling proposition, it's getting harder and harder and harder by the day to be unique, to differentiate. So that part, you could apply your thought to it, but I think we're coming to a time when that's only going to work so well. What works better now is focusing on what's in it for the people who come to you, whether it's just to make them laugh, whether it's to inspire them, whether it's to entertain them, whether it's to inform them, focusing on what's in it for them, and just dealing in concrete facts. Try to make it less about you. 2025 is not the year to yap, talk about you. That's not going to work too well. And in fact, it's already showing diminishing returns. Be self-important to whatever degree you feel like you need to be, but as far as your content is concerned, don't bring that to your content if possible. Try to serve, try to give people what they want and what they need, and try to bring concrete facts. Don't talk about you so much. Don't bring your story to the table so much. If people want to hear your stories, that's different. Or if you want to share a story to illustrate a point, but try not to make it self-important. So I hope this makes sense. I think a lot of people, they don't know that they've got a good distribution channel in front of them. I talked about before about there's blogs and podcasts, and maybe you're part of a community. Maybe you're part of a group of creators on YouTube. Maybe you're helping out on a YouTube channel. Maybe you're a supporter or a co-host on a podcast. You may be staring at the best opportunity available and not even know it because you don't know how to value the opportunity, and you're not looking at it accurately. And look, sometimes whatever you've got going in your life right now really isn't the best opportunity, but I'm trying to urge you to look at things a little bit differently through the lens of a distribution channel. Chances are you need one, because if you have one and it's a decent size, any offer that you plug into there is going to sell, because people like you and they like the way you show up, and they like the content you bring to the table and that you create, the updates that you offer. So if you do that well, you can command a salary, or you can command an income that's far beyond what most people dream about. But if you don't focus on that distribution channel, and you treat your show like your distribution channel, or you treat your art like your distribution channel, your art's only going to get you so far, because a lot of people have art and there's a really good quality stuff out there. Still worth doing, of course. But you want to think in terms of, where is my distribution? Where can I plug this offer into? So make note of stuff that's growing. Make note of stuff that's going somewhere, something that has resonance, something that is connecting with people. If it's already connecting with people and you happen to be plugging into it, recognize that you may have the opportunity to co-host, or you may have the opportunity to guest host, or you may have the opportunity to jump in and be a part of that community and contribute and work your way up to the point where maybe you're not the founder, but you're somebody who's a regular contributor. there's an opportunity there. And if you have that distribution channel, you can plug any offer into it and it will sell. But until you have that, it's going to be rough going. So figure out where your distribution channels are. Understand that if you don't have one, and if you can't create one, okay, but you're going to have to pay a lot of money to get your stuff in front of people who are already part of a network or already part of a community where they're enjoying what they're seeing. And like being interrupted by your stuff is sometimes the last thing they want. But you'll be super welcome in a place where people have seen how you show up and what you show up with and like what you show up with. So think differently about your distribution channel. Make sure you have one. If you don't have one, you got a secondary option. Find a community, find a podcast, find a YouTube channel that you like. Work your way in, figure out how to contribute, figure out how to be a part of something that's growing fast, because you're the one that's going to benefit from it. So try to bring that lens to your assessment. I know it's hard to assess opportunity. Even I mess up at this sometimes, but it's trying to get better at assessing the opportunities that are in front of you. And if they've got momentum, you want to be a part of them, especially if you can't build your distribution channel, especially if you won't, especially if you've been talking about it for days, months, weeks, years, and it's still not coming together for you. All right, so I hope this helps.
Unlock the secrets to skyrocketing your productivity, boosting performance, and maximizing profits with my latest premium guide, the Productivity, Performance, and Profits Black Book. Tailored for independent artists and entrepreneurs, this comprehensive resource is your roadmap to turning ideas into reality. Say goodbye to abandoned projects collecting dust on your shelves or buried in your hard drives. It's time to bring your vision to life. Grab your free copy of the Productivity, Performance, and Profits Black Book now at davidandrewweeb.com/blackbook. That's WIEBE. Don't miss out on the key to unlocking your success.